Naurlos ti kaadwan, umili nagarmasdan. Dahil ti pagkakinaay, panagdur at titignayan. Ay, salidumay, ela-elalat. Programa pangkabiyagan, intayo pagtungtungan. Nalagado sa kaunay, masapul pagtinulungan. Ay, salidumay, ela-elalay.
Mothers, daughters, and wives of an entire nation exiled since birth to an inherited life sentence of economic shackles.
We're here at Philippine Women's Center of Ontario, to Club Ontario, and Filipino-Canadian Youth Alliance, calling for the scrapping of the anti-woman and racist live-in caregiver program. We're genuine liberation and genuine settlement and integration in Canada.
Third world women like Veronica Vasquez, whose virginal 19 years was violated and stolen by her blue-eyed serial rapist husband, to secure the security of her perishing family in the barren province of Valenzuela, Veronica Vasquez can't fathom where she has gone nor grapple with the promised splendor that never arrived. As her wave-faced husband pleasures himself in the remains of Veronica's once stirring body, climaxing on a breathing cadaver who begs to be wakened from the pillaging nightmare that does not cease. The pillaging nightmare that does not cease.
Their existence commodified, their bodies objectified, their voices denied, steadily trafficked through seedy roads, intersections, and freeways of the labor export policy.
The Live-In Caregiver Program is a federal government program that actively recruits women from the third world, particularly the Philippines, to come to Canada to provide childcare, private elderly care, or care for people with disabilities. This is a program that's initiated by the Human Resource Skills Development Canada and also the Citizenship and Immigration Canada. As I've mentioned, actively recruit women to come to Canada and live in an employer's home. When we look at the Live-In Caregiver Program, the question of is this an immigration program, is this an employment program, what we really also need to critically examine is really look at what is the history of Filipino migration in Canada and also the history of immigration policies of Canada and its relation to the global economic needs of Canada. But in the 80s up to the present, what we're seeing is that the majority of Filipinos who are coming into Canada are actually women in their prime productive years, and they're coming into Canada to work as domestic workers. 97% of the live-in caregivers are actually Filipinos or from the Philippines.
I'm Kelly and I'm the spokesperson of this organization, the Ontario chapter. I am a former live-in caregiver. I came to Canada when I was 21 years old. That was 3 years ago. And my employer lives up north, near Barrie. So it was kind of a culture shock for me. In a poor country, like, you know, when you don't have a lot of stuff, you would think, I think it's a human instinct to think of ways how to get out of this situation. Let's say I had a hard time adjusting because I was a student and then I was like suddenly in like a matter of 24 hours, because that's how long it takes the flight from the Philippines to here. I am a domestic worker. Like on hindsight, it's institutionalizing domesticity. There's this psychological control over you that I have to get my papers. I have to fulfill the requirements of the program because it is required that you finish the 24 months live-in conditions in 36 months. So like some women, due to their fear, even if they're being abused by their employers, they would stay just so they complete the 24 months live-in requirement for 36 months. I basically assume all the duties of the mother except sleep with the husband. That's what live-in caregivers do. Like, they do everything from morning till night, or sometimes even at night the employers would call you when they need you because you're living in the house.
Since we started coming in as domestic workers in Canada, we have also seen the long-term social impacts of this program, not only to the women themselves, but to the community at large. And I think that's why it's a very significant issue for the Filipino community to really look at. The Filipino community can't just say that, it's just the issue of, like this group of women, so they have to deal with it. Even after they finish the program, you could see that the impacts are still being felt by the women and by their families, and in general by the community.
Umalis nanay ko nung 2 taon ako. That was in 1989. So I don't really remember a lot of it because basically I didn't grow up with a mother, and I don't really know what it feels like to have a mother. When we reunited, it was still difficult because at first my mom went to France when I was 2 years old, and then she applied and she worked there for 7 years, and she applied to become an live-in caregiver in Canada. So 5 taon siyang nagtrabaho dito bago niya na kami nakuha. So ilang taon na ako noon? 14 na taon na ako nung nakapunta kami sa Canada. Tapos yun, mahirap syempre kasi parang hindi mo kakilala yung kasama mo sa bahay mo, di ba? Parang it's like living with a stranger. Unang-una, parang napwesang magtrabaho yung mga kuya ko. Para syempre, kasi sa LCP, alam mo naman, kasi yung kinikita lang nila, konti-konti lang. Sabihin natin, 800 kada buwan. That's, parang wala lang yun, di ba? Konting pera. So, pag nagpunta kami dito, ibig sabihin nun, yung pamasahe, 5 kami. Kasi 3 kuya ko, tapos tatay ko. So, 5 kami. Kung titignan mo talaga, pamasahe pa lang, mahirap na kunin, di ba? Tapos yung pagsasettle pa sa Canada, ang hirap din kasi walang-wala talaga. Wala kaming pera. So, yung nangyari, yun nga yung tatay ko, tapos yung mga kuya ko, habang nag-aaral sila, parang napwersahan sila magtrabaho para makatulong din sa bahay. Para bayaran yung mga utang pa na dati na ginamit ng nanay ko nung pagdating namin dito. Sometimes I hear my mom, like, she wants to go back to school and she wants to do a lot of stuff. Of course, like, she didn't make enough money to begin with in order for her to go to school, of course, to get an education, even though I know that she's capable of going back to school and get a diploma of some sort and change her line of work. But it was just too hard, too difficult because she's supporting us, like me and my brothers, and it's really hard to start and settle with that little money that you've made out when you were working as an LCP. Actually, no, she didn't save money at all because she had to send us money and she had to spend money here as well. So no. So we came here and we were already in debt. How long have I been here? 9 years now. She still works as a nanny.
When you have an LCP, how much do you pay your LCP? So by minimum wage, right? So it's 9.25 per hour.